This business meeting of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee will come to order. Today, we're considering 3 foreign service officer promotion lists, 35 nominations, and 6 legislative items. Turning first to nominations, I'm pleased that we have a long list of nominees before us today, both for critical positions at the State Department and USAID, as well as embassies around the world. I want to emphasize the continued need to move with alacrity on nominations. There are still nominees who have been pending for months and need to get hearings, and I appreciate the work Senator Risch is doing with me on this regard. I know when Senator Risch, when you were the chairman, you were clear that you thought the hearing was the time to air any issues, as you used to say, much like a trial, in your words. The members could ask questions and let the chips fall where they may. I hope we can apply that standard to current nominees as well. I also want to take a moment to thank the various members of this committee on both sides who have served as chair or ranking member for nominations hearings. I greatly appreciate your efforts to ensure that our national security agencies are fully staffed. Unfortunately, we have been unable to move forward with a number of nominations hearings at the subcommittee level because we have had no Republican who has stepped up to serve as the ranking member. And I would hope that all members are reminded that serving from time to time as the chair or ranking member is an expectation for members of this committee, particularly those who are in subcommittee leadership positions. Given the number of pending nominations and those we anticipate receiving over the coming months, we will continue relying on your participation. The ranking member and I have discussed this. We're not going to do everything at full committee. There's a lot of opportunities at subcommittees. Not only is it about nominations, but obviously the substantive issues that those nominees have in their region. So it's a really worthwhile endeavor. So it's my hope that all members will eagerly contribute in that regard. Regarding the nominees we are considering today, while I will not speak about each of them, I do want to say that I believe they are all well qualified and deserving of their nominations, and I look forward to their swift confirmation. Turning next to the legislative items on our agenda, we have before us today 4 bills and 2 resolutions. Let me just say a few words on those. I'm pleased that we're moving H.R. 965, the Young African Leaders Initiative Act, which was introduced by Representative Bass and was passed the House in April. With nearly 60% of Africa's total population currently below the age of 35, this bill is an important effort to codify the Young African Leaders Initiative, which brings the next generation of African leaders to the United States to develop critical skills. This has proven to be a highly successful initiative. I hope my colleagues will join me in supporting the bill. We will also be considering S1104, a bill intended to modernize U.S. foreign policy's approach to Haiti. This bill could not have come at a more critical time for our policy towards Haiti, which sadly has faced crisis after crisis in the last several months. From a delayed election to a wave of gang violence and kidnappings to a presidential assassination, an earthquake, a hurricane, and a migration crisis, this bill sets U.S. policy in support of an inclusive Haitian-led development agenda. I commend Senators Cardin and Rubio for their leadership on the bill, and I'm pleased that the manager's amendment includes a provision that I authored requiring a report on the investigation into the assassination of former President Mosé. I also have to note that I'm deeply troubled by the news regarding the kidnapping of 17 American missionaries in Haiti over the weekend. These kidnappings, along with the growing number of kidnappings of Haitians every week, mark yet another alarming dimension of the expansive crisis in Haiti and the severely reduced capacity of the Haitian government to uphold the rule of law. We'll also be marking up S2129, named in honor of Otto Warmbier, an American college student who died at the hands of the brutal North Korean regime. I commend Senators Portman and Brown for their leadership on this bill, which aims to counter North Korea's censorship and its repressive information environment. As we are seeing in authoritarian regimes around the world, there's an increasing need for the United States to invest in efforts to advance freedom of expression and to support internet freedom. This is certainly true in North Korea. As 1657, the South China Sea and East China Sea Sanctions Act, led by Senators Rubio and Cardin, is an important bill endorsing strong measures to counter the Chinese government's aggressive behavior in the South China Sea and East China Sea. The overwhelming majority of this committee and the full Senate have agreed that countering Chinese aggression is critical to developing a stable and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. I look forward to strongly supporting this bill today. Finally, I'm pleased that we are marking up two important resolutions, S-Res 345, addressing the political situation in Belarus, and S-Res 380, expressing support for the people of the Republic of South Sudan. In the aftermath of Belarus's illegitimate 2020 presidential election, ordinary Belarusians stood up to the fight for a free and democratic society. S-345 makes clear to those fighting for freedom in Belarus that the United States stands with them in their democratic aspirations. We also stand with NATO allies Lithuania, Poland, and Latvia as they face a growing humanitarian crisis imposed by the Lukashenko regime. I commend Senator Shaheen for her leadership on this resolution. Last but not least, this year marked the 10th anniversary of South Sudan's independence. However, instead of celebrating that milestone, we find ourselves at a very dangerous crossroads. The civil war pitting forces loyal to President Salva Kiir against those aligned with Vice President Riek Machar has killed nearly 400,000 people and displaced over 4 million. Despite a 2018 peace agreement, conflict and unrest continues. This resolution urges the administration to develop a meaningful policy aimed at supporting a peaceful, stable, democratic, and prosperous South Sudan. I strongly support the resolution led by the distinguished ranking member and my colleague from New Jersey, Senator Booker. With that, let me recognize the distinguished ranking member for his remarks. Senator Rich.
Thank you.